If you're a busy professional man at your highest weight, wondering 2 a.m. lying in bed thinking, how did I get this fat? I'm sharing the 5 fat loss lessons that I wish I knew at 25, because these are the same strategies I used to lose 60 pounds and keep it off for 13 years and finally stop restarting my diet. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I'm making a new video about weight loss advice for men every single week. I use these strategies to help dozens of men just like you lose up to 60 pounds and finally escape the yo-yo dieting cycle. And if you're tired of constantly losing and gaining the same weight, I want to help you get to your healthy self without giving up the foods that you love. The first lesson is that you should stop trying to lose weight fast, because if you are trying to chase the fast diet where you are trying to lose weight very fast, you are not able to stick to it. And the reason why is that, let's imagine that every single Monday you're waking up frustrated, and by Friday you are so exhausted, hungry, and you want to take, for example, takeout again, and it's just a repeating cycle that makes it very difficult for you to lose weight. So I always recommend that you start out with a 300 or 500 calorie deficit, because that's enough to lose 1 to 2 pounds every single week if you combine that with 6,000 steps every single day, and also, for example, cardio sessions 4 times a week. And you also want to have 40% of your daily calories come from protein, because that's easier for you to maintain your calorie deficit by having you feel fuller with eating more whole foods. For example, lean chicken breast is the most difficult macronutrients to break down, and it's also the macronutrients that is helpful for you at the least to lose even more fat even when you're not working out. And then you want to focusing on slow, sustainable progress. Every single week you're trying to hitting the milestones of following the 300, 500 calorie deficit. You're working out 5 times in the gym with progressive overload and my muscle connection. By doing that, you're going to build a lot more muscle over a long period of time. And how you see that you are building more muscle, it comes down to you increasing the weights with 2.5 kilos every single set. And if you are able to lift more every single set, that is a sign that it's going to work. And it just takes 1 or 2 weeks where you are trying to push yourself 1 to 2 reps before failure. And by doing that, you're going to lose fat, and you're not going to start over, because you're building a lot of muscle mass just throughout doing these small changes. And if you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me in my client transformation in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together. The next lesson is that you should build systems that are going to help you in the long run, not just relying on motivation. Because if you rely on willpower after, for example, a stressful Monday, you're going to crash. Let's imagine that you've been working at your work and you tell yourself that you will cook, but you come home, you're so exhausted and you just feel like you are mentally drained, that just thinking about the grocery shopping is making you fatigued. So I always recommend that you start out with meal prepping. Let's imagine that it's Sunday and you are grocery shopping. You have 2 meal plans that puts you in a calorie deficit, and 45% of daily calories, or 40% coming from protein, 40% coming from carbs, and the rest is fat. Then you make 2 meal plans through MyFitnessPal. With a premium subscription, you can drag and drop the kind of meal plans that you want to create with different kinds of recipes. And then I like to just eating the same breakfast every single day, so I make sure that I am meal prepping. The most difficult thing, that is the protein sources. I have a bag of protein, 5 kilos of whey protein. Then I have a lot of eggs, 30 eggs. I'm having 2 pounds of salmon, a lot of cans of tuna, 2 kilos of chicken breast that I put into the oven. Then I have that stacked, and then it takes 5-10 minutes to cook some pasta, whole wheat bread, butter, low fat, Nutella, and I am just repeating the same breakfast and lunch every single day. And I am batching like a lot of pasta in the beginning, or sometimes if I don't feel like eating the same shit, I'm just switching it up with another meal plan that I have prepared. So I'm staying up with my motivation, and I grocery shop like 1 time, and that's Sunday, so I have everything meal packed. And it's about having all the meals planned beforehand before you going to work the next couple of days, because if you are planning ahead, that you are most likely when you come back from work you are exhausted, then you just have your meal prepared. You just put in some pasta and chicken, maybe some ground beef, whatever you like on top of your meal plan, and then you just put it in, 5 minutes, done. You don't need to think about it. And you also have available healthy snacks like protein bars. I have like a box of protein bars, 20 in different kinds of flavor, 2 kinds of protein boxes. And then I am making sure that I'm eating that afternoon, because as a professional man, you are most likely crashing your energy levels afternoon. So but having that prepared, that makes you not crave too much sugar, because if you are mentally drained after work, you are taking that stress with you after work at home, like late at night you want to binge. I don't want you to do that. So it's easy if you have some protein bar that is in your calories, and by doing that you're going to stay consistent even during hours of peak. You are working 40-50 hours a week. The third lesson is that you should build muscle, not just burn calories, because let's imagine that you're making the mistake of thinking that the more cardio, the better. And you're most likely at the point where you've lost a lot of weight, but you're still thinking that when you look yourself in a mirror, that you feel disgusted, embarrassed, and you eventually just want to give up. And I don't want you to give up, because I am someone who really believes in having a beautiful, lean body that is aesthetic, gives you a lot of confidence, and someone that has broad, wide shoulders, for example, a tight midsection with abs showing, and that is more easy for you if you are able to using progressive overload when you're working out and you're structuring all your workout. Let's say you have 4 times in the gym and you are working out Monday with, for example, chest, and then you have 2 exercises where you're focusing compound movements. That is the most demanding exercise, where you are targeting the chest area and you are also targeting the triceps. And then you are using progressive overload in a way that you are increasing the weight with 2.5 kilos when you are doing 10 to 12 reps. Then you have 60 seconds to rest. Then you try to increase the weight again and hitting 1 to 2 reps before failure. That in itself is enough to make you feel that you are pushing yourself, because if you are working out and you're not pushing yourself enough and not able to have a high intensity workout, you're not building a lot of muscle mass, because you need the foundations to be able to create enough stimulus to build more muscle and eventually lose weight. And after you've been doing that for 3 sets, the warm-up set is not like something that you're counting and you want to track it down into your notepad, and then you go over to isolation movements. For example, you're also targeting the chest with flies, and then you're going over to tricep movements. That could be tricep push down, rope push down, dips, and then you're just targeting the triceps from different kinds of angles. And the next one, if you're going to work out your back, you are also working out with 2 compound movements. That could be bent over rows, and then you're going over to seated neutral grip, and then you're going to dumbbell upper back rows, and then you're doing leg pull down flies. That can help you build a V shape from the back, like a small waist and wide broad back, and also targeting the rear flies. And that you're going to the third day, there you are targeting the shoulders. You are using military press, dumbbell shoulder press, where you're targeting the front part of the shoulders. Then you do 2 exercises where you're targeting the lateral raises, like the lateral part of the shoulder. They make you feel wider. And you do that with, for example, standing lateral raises, and then seated lateral raises, and then you go over to targeting the biceps. That could be standing dumbbell curls, barbell curls, and seated dumbbell curls. And you can superset that with hammer curls. So that is going to develop your whole upper body. And the last day is just leg day. You can start out with plated leg press, then hack squat, and then you go over to leg extension, and then you just do 1 ab exercise like rope crunches. So that's it. You don't need anything more, and that's just the basic. And you're also just having 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single day in order to make you feel relaxed, because the more high cortisol you have, the more stressful your body is, and it's difficult to lose the weight, because if you are very stressful, your body is holding onto the fat source, and you just want to have a very relaxing life, and you are just in the end going to build a lean, toned, muscular body that exudes a lot of confidence. The mistake is that you should stop doing all or nothing mindset, because if you're someone who's just believing that having fucked up with 1 bad meal and that's turned to a whole week, you are going to have this cycle of feeling bad and good all the time, and it fucks up your mentality of dieting and leading a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. Let's imagine that you are eating a pizza on Friday, and then you convince yourself that you are ruining everything because you've just thinking that you need to start over at Monday, and that is a very unhealthy way. So I always recommend that you are having a balance where you are, for example, 80% of the time that you are following your diet and nutrition plan according to what that you've been wanting to hit with the calories and the macros, and also the workout plan and the amount of steps that you need to get in. And then you're also having 20% where you are sometimes switching out the amount of food that you're eating. For example, I usually use vegetable dieting if I am someone in a place where I'm having a lot of cravings for something food. So in the beginning of the day, I know that to be in 300-500 calorie deficit, I have 2,500 calorie to eat for, and then I am, for example, eating 60-70% of my daily calories in the beginning of the day from protein sources. For example, that could look like 90 grams of whey protein, 400 grams of skim milk, a protein bar, 200 grams of chicken, and some veggies. So I am minimizing the amount of carbs that I'm eating in the beginning of the day, because I want to allocate most of my calories for the next part of the day. That could be, I already consumed, let's say, 700-800 calories, and the last meal of the day I'm usually intermittent fasting, where I'm waking up in the beginning of the day 7-8 a.m. and then I just drink a lot of water to reduce the hunger levels, and then I already have for the last meal 1,300-1,400 calorie to eat for. So you can most likely just go out for pizza, whole pizza, depending on what type of pizza you're getting, or kebab, durum, whatever that you like, pancakes, maybe that, as long as you're trying to figure it out that it should be in your calorie deficit and just making it fit, and also have enough to hit your daily macros. And by thinking this way, that you are thinking from meal to meal instead of just week to week, is easier, just not feeling overwhelmed with the weight loss, that you are just taking one day at a time. If you fucked up with your diet and eating way too much, you're trying to compensate the next day by removing 200 calories or something. But maybe you can just walk 2,000 steps even more, and then you're burning more. So it's not about like a whole week you've been thinking that you're destroying your whole process. And if you've been eating one day bad and you're thinking the whole week is ruined, just take it easy, because no one is perfect. I was not someone who was perfect. I was fucking up a lot, but I was also something that learned a lot from my mistakes. So eventually it's just about taking a scientific approach and having someone in your corner. I used to have a fitness coach who helped me a lot because I was like a newbie. So the more support I got and the more education with my fuck ups, that was easier for me to just feeling more at ease and calm through the storms. And by doing this, you want to enjoy a social life without feeling guilty that you failed your diet. It's about being human when you're trying to lose weight and taking in all the consideration that comes into play when you're trying to lose weight. The last mistake is that you become the man who doesn't need to diet anymore. As someone who's been into this weight loss journey, like I lost 60 pounds and kept it up for 13 years. And the mistake that you are most likely doing is that you're thinking of yourself like someone who is always on the diet. You've maybe been doing that for 20 years and you're waking up like 2 a.m. or thinking that you are most likely just losing the weight and getting back up to your heaviest weight, even when you busted your ass off in the gym, like 1 hour of cardio for several weeks. And I want to ask you, like, why do you need to be on a diet constantly? I know that you need to put your shit together in the beginning to like following the steps, and eventually you're going to be that person who never died when you reach your end goal of being someone who's just been very lean. And you always want to address, like, if you are having the perfect weight loss plan with the diet in check, the workout plan, the cardio, the amount of steps, and you are just needing the right mindset of what would a healthy, lean, toned, muscular guy do. If you've been thinking you have a lot of cravings, of course you can mitigate that with having 40 grams of fibers into your diet, and also having fast and slow digestible carbs, so you are reducing the hunger. Black coffee, reducing the hunger. 4 or 5 liters of water every single day, reducing the hunger. And also Cola Zero. That helps reducing the cravings. But eventually, sometimes when the cravings are so bad because you're in a calorie deficit for longer, it's going to be increased. Then instead of just going into the late binging at night, stopping yourself up and thinking, what would a lean, toned, muscular, healthy man do? And then you're projecting yourself into the future and thinking that if I'm fucking up right now, I'm going to disappoint the future self of myself. And if you are constantly thinking this way, like all the small actions, let's imagine that you're tired and you think, I need to do 20 minutes of cardio after working out, but maybe you want to skip it, but thinking, what would a healthy, lean, muscular man do instead? So by training regularly, doing the amount of steps that you've been wanting to accomplish, and prioritizing the meal plans, and you need the mental support from a coach who can be there and support you. Because if you're new in this, I used to do it on my own. That did not work because I've tried that for 4 years and have different kinds of coach. But find someone who's been in the same shoes as you, know all the shitty things that you've been going through. That makes everything easier. And if you are planning ahead, that makes it easier as well, because you are also taking into consideration with all the mental stress that you've been having throughout the day and just being exhausted, and you don't want to rely on willpower, you want to rely on a plan. So you are going to eventually be that type of man who's become lean, toned, muscular, and also having habits that is supporting you with the identity that you want, and not just feeling that you are hungry and just wanting to binge eat. So if you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me in my client transformation beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together, and I'll help you build a game plan to lose the weight for good.